class, this is your walkthrough for week 2 of module 1. So I'm going to walk you through what you're going to do this week. Hopefully you start getting the hang of things and you have found that the way I've organized the class makes it easy for you to find what to do for the week. So we're at the home screen. I do have us in the student mode, so your screen should look the same except for this stuff here, because my test student as myself has not, I haven't done the stuff I'm supposed to do as a test student. So you, of course, can go here to the modules, but I prefer to just use the buttons that I have here. So it gives you I like because it gives you a little bit of a visual lookout. So you can see we have 3 weeks in this first module. That means that next week you're going to have your first personalized project due. Okay, so let's take a look. So week 2, here we go. We're at 8:19 to 8:25. Let's take a look and see what you're going to be doing this week. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Aristotle, this video will be here. Okay, so just to look at the agenda, you are going to be having your first chapter reading. We're going to be talking about the hope and growth mindset, understanding statistics on career satisfaction. I need to update this. I think it's a little bit older. Attendance activity 2, I'm going to make sure there's a link here. I'm not sure why there isn't. We're going to talk about values in work, and then you're going to have a few different activities to do. So you're going to do your focus to career values assessment. You're going to do a core values assessment and a work values assessment, and then you have a discussion called the lost generation. And then you have a couple extra credit opportunities, which I hope you guys take advantage of. So I'm going to go down here and hit the next button. This should take us to, here's the hope and growth mindset. This is kind of the first thing that you're going to be looking over. This isn't in your book, but this is something that research has shown is very helpful in education, and this is something that Chafee uses to align our curriculum. So I have a little blurb here about it. I talk about self-efficacy, and there's a video there. I also talk a little bit about here in terms of how it helps you have more control over your learning. I have a little visual here that talks about a growth mindset, which is what you want, and a fixed mindset. So a perfect example would be if somebody says, I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to pick any major, that includes math in any way. I hear that a lot from students. So I would challenge students to say, maybe you're not good at math yet. Okay. I found as a student that it took me quite some time to figure out how I learn best. And it really wasn't until community college where I figured this whole thing out for myself. And, I thought I wasn't good at math, and I worked as an engineer for almost a decade and got up to differential equations. So obviously that wasn't the truth. Sometimes when we don't feel like we do something perfect or right from the start, it makes us feel like we can't do it. But always remember, when you struggle, that is evidence of learning, okay? So this visual, I think, helps a lot. Also, this is a longer TED Talk. I think it's about 20 minutes. This is by Carol Dweck, and she's the one that did the research originally on hope and growth mindset and looking at different types of communities. I think she looks at elementary school and mathematics in lower income communities where kids had been labeled as like not being able to do certain things. And she kind of showed through her research that it's not really the content, it's how we think about it and how we think about, our strengths and weaknesses that affect how well we do. Okay, that was long. I'm making my walkthrough long. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here's the link for Chafee's Hope and Growth Mindset blurb. This is chapter 1 in our book. As you can see, our textbook is very brief. It's just that the reading isn't long. This one is Words of Wisdoms, Learn What You Don't Want. And that's just as important as learning what you do. So you can see it talks about things that you can do. It has, 4 steps. And that's it. See, this is the end of that chapter. So I don't know. I don't know if we would even call that a chapter, right? That's pretty short. Okay, next you're going to do your attendance activity for week 2. And this is motivation for attending college. This comes from your textbook. There's a video here as well that goes over it. Again, it might look weird, but it'll play. And then I have a link to chapter 2 if you need it, because chapter 2 we're not going to be looking at until the next week. What am I thinking of? And then I also have the discussion and reflection question here. And then here's the description and how you're going to get graded for that. Okay, next we have, and I have a little note here, you have to post before seeing replies. Okay, so make sure you do that. Discussion 2, this is the Lost Generation. This is, I don't know why it says Thursday. This is due on Saturday. I'll fix that. And then Sunday, this is totally wrong. I'll fix all this, guys. So then Sunday is going to be when your peer replies are due. I have a link to the Hope and Growth Mindset, and then I have the video here, and then the questions, okay? So make sure and look through that. I'll fix all this stuff that is sometimes doing the walkthroughs I like doing because it kind of shows me if I need to update and fix things. Let's see, the importance of career satisfaction, that's important too, and there's a brief video lecture there. I've been looking for updated stats from the Gallup polls, but they've split it up into different categories now, so it's a little bit harder. But essentially, the truth is the stats are still about the same. Then I have some short lectures here on values. So we're going to be talking about values. So there's one here. Here's some bullet points I go over during this lecture. The development of values as well, I go over those in the lecture, and the features of values, I go over that in the lecture too. This is a TED Talk by Shaka Senghor, who talks about you know, why your worst deeds don't define you. I found that students really like this video, so it might be a little bit older, but I think he speaks to the very powerful views of values that drove him to get to where he needed to go, where he wanted to go. Okay, and then you have your Focus to Career Values Assessment. And then that's going to be, you're going to see that the Focus to Career assessments are pretty much the same. This is going to be the first one where you're going to be applying your results. I'm going to update the video because I think they changed a little bit about how the Focus to Career page looks. Next, we're going to go to Core Values. Okay, and this you can download the PDF and edit it if you have the capabilities, or you can just answer the questions right here. The only thing I would stress to you guys, if you just answer the questions, make sure you look at the download, because it has a list on page 3 of all the different values. So I think it's really helpful. Okay, then we have the lecture activity, week 2, work values. So how does this apply to work? You know, a lot of times students think like, this is weird. I'm talking about my values, but aren't those like personal to me? No, for you to have career satisfaction, it's really important that your values translate into the workplace. So that's the activity. This shouldn't take very long. Again, you have a number of activities, but they should take maybe 10-15 minutes. Then you have some extra credit. If you notice, I made the due date for the extra credit the last day of the module, okay? So you have this week and next week to do the extra credit. This one, Pass It On, is worth 10 points. Again, you have video instructions there for you. And then the next one, values. This uses the video, the TED Talk that I showed you, and asks you some questions about it. So if you've already watched it, this is a pretty easy extra credit to get, and it's worth 20 points. So I recommend that you guys take advantage of that. And that is it for this week. I hope you have a good week, and if you have any questions, again, please feel free to reach out to me.